My BF gave himself an allergic reaction to get rid of his boss. Not my story but my BF's. He doesn't like writing, but we've been listening to a lot of Reddit stories and this story came up. His family confirmed this happened, so it's not made up. When my BF, Jake, was 19, he had a job at a smoothie shop. He worked with 3 other people and his boss. We'll call him Michael. Jake's one stipulation before getting his job was that he not work with peanut butter since he is allergic. He'll break out in hives, and if ingested his throat will swell. Not bad enough for EpiPen, but bad enough to need Benadryl. At this job they made protein balls and it was made with peanut butter. One day during a rush, Jake was at the sink when Michael threw a big bowl of leftover peanut butter in at the sink and told Jake to wash it. Jake argued and told him he can't touch it and that he'd have a breakout. Michael argued with him and told him to do it. So, Jake, being the stubborn bastard he is, said okay. Fine. Roughly 5 minutes later, Jake's hands and arms were covered in hives. So once his arms had visible hives, he took a picture and sent it in the workgroup chat the owners were in, saying, "Can someone cover my shift? I'm a tad under the weather," with pictures of his hands. He walked out before anyone responded. Someone covered his shift and the owners came in with the girl who covered the rest of his shift to yell at Michael. The next day the girl told Jake about Michael getting chewed out by the owners. The owners called Jake and apologized for what happened. Long story short, that along with stealing money from the registers and being creepy with the high school girls, Michael was fired. Jake quit shortly after. Just because. 4 people commenting that was stupid and allergic reactions get worse. Yes, he's well aware. He was a spiteful teen with no sense of self-preservation, just pettiness. It's just a little possible death. The owners liked him and gave him an espresso machine when he left, so he says, it was worth it. No. He wouldn't and won't do it again.
For people commenting that was stupid and allergic reactions get worse, yes, he's well aware. He was a spiteful teen with no sense of self-preservation, just pettiness sounds like something I did as a spiteful teen. I was having a rather angry argument with someone about whether a plant was poison ivy. The person wanted me to do something while standing in the plant. I don't remember all the details now. For the record, I have severe reactions to poison ivy. Weeping patches larger than my hand with fingers spread. I will not recover without prescription medication. The person would not believe me that this plant was poison ivy, and in a fit of pettiness, I snatched a handful of leaves and rubbed them vigorously on my forearm. My only thought was, I'll show them. Not my smartest moment. Silver lining, it wasn't poison ivy. I was wrong.
If I got an espresso machine out of this situation, I'd do it. Love me an espresso.
Shout out to Markian and our / fuck those channels. They steal people's content and make money off it.
Reminds me of a similar situation I had with a friend in high school. He needed help cleaning the attic of his parents' garage, so he asked all of our friend group to come help him that weekend. With all our help we could knock it out quick and he would buy us pizza. We all accepted. It was warm and the attic would be even warmer, so the uniform was short sleeves and shorts. As soon as I climbed up in the attic I knew there would be trouble. I have an allergy to excessive household dust. Like when a room hasn't been cleaned in years and dust puffs up in the air when anything is disturbed. I get hives on my skin and then not long after my throat starts to close up. IDK, what's in the dust that causes it? Maybe mold spores. No idea. I'm also allergic to cats, and I had asthma as a child. Anyway, I come right back downstairs and tell my buddy it's a no-go. I can stay outside and try to help with other stuff, but he says all the work is in the attic. I tell him about my allergy and he calls bullshit. Now he's pissed because I'm faking it to get out of helping. I tried to explain to him, but he's not buying it. I have a pet peeve of people insulting my integrity, so I was like, fine. I'll go help them. I stormed back up there and started helping. It was like nightmare levels of dust being stirred up, and it didn't take but 5 minutes until my arms were all hived up and I was wheezing because my throat was closing up. I came back down and walked straight up to him and held my arms up for him to see while I was wheezing heavily. He looked at my arms and his jaw dropped. He couldn't believe it and started apologizing. I told him, I fucking told you so, and I started heading to my car. He followed me while apologizing and said he would find something for me to do outside, but I told him I can't do anything until I take a shower and change these clothes and wait for my throat to open back up so I could stop wheezing. He kept apologizing, but I just got in my car and left and didn't return. He called later and asked if I would come and eat pizza with everyone, but I told him I was still recovering. He apologized again and I said, don't worry about it, we're cool. I told him what really pissed me off was that he actually thought that I was the kind of person who would just stand there and lie to his face about something like that. I do admit, it is a weird allergy though.
As someone with severe allergies, please tell him to take an AP if his throat starts to swell. There are so many horror stories of people dying because they just took Benadryl and not their AP.
But like, every time I get stung by a bee my reaction gets worse. The doctors tell you this. I mean, way to prove your point, but dang, IDK if the reward is worth the risk.
For people commenting that was stupid and allergic reactions get worse, yes, he's well aware. He was a spiteful teen with no sense of self-preservation, just pettiness. It's just a little possible death. Fun thing about allergies, sometimes they develop over time. For example, I used to be totally immune to poison ivy. I learned that I was immune by accident. I learned that I was no longer immune by stupidity.